Good morning everyone, it's Yvonne here to do your reading. So, start of a brand new week. Before I go any further, firstly, thank you so much for your support, your love and your kindness. It really did show yesterday with a lot of people reporting the scammers on Instagram. Please keep in mind that I would never come after you for reading. I don't think many tarot readers have that style of doing things. So really and truly don't get sort of pulled in by them. I know people did, and I'm really sorry that you lost your money, but if you'd have read it carefully, they spelt my website wrong. There was lots of other bad English in there. So please check thoroughly before you go paying any money for something. And like 1,000 people, I'm more than happy for you to email me. And a lot of people did. So keeping in mind that I have a lot of friends and family on my site too, so they knew it wasn't me. But please don't get pulled in. These people are trying to make money from nothing, and I guess, you know, a little bit of money, one payment means a lot to them, so in terms of the finances. So please just check the spelling, the website spelling, if you're seeing any of those. But I would say to you, nobody that does these sort of readings would come up to you personally for readings. It's just not what we do. I don't know how everybody else is, but I'm a great believer that you choose your reader. Your reader does not choose you. All right. We might do general advertising, but I don't think many people would approach you individually. And I know a lot of the big readers on here talk about that too. Okay. If you do want a reading with me, you can find me at www.theaussiegoddess.com. So you come to me. You choose me. All right, let's get straight into your reading. I'm not going to hold off this morning. We're using the Millennium Thoth Tarot, and we're coming up with the Nine of Wands straight off. Now another thing you have to, it's really hot in here. I have the air conditioner going, but it's very, very warm. I think it's sort of 26 degrees overnight or something, so it's been very close. The Nine of Wands is a card that talks about, it's the card of the wounded warrior. So it's a card that says, you've been through something many, many times. You're coming to the end of a cycle, but you've got to a point here where you've built your defenses up so high, you've almost got yourself in some sort of prison. For me, it makes me feel like you're repeating some sort of behavior when I see this card. So it might be, for example, picking similar relationships, getting into jobs that seem the same, but encountering something over and over again because the lesson isn't being absorbed or learned from something. So that's sort of what the Nine of Wands sort of comes out as. And we do have the Seven of Cups. This is quite interesting really, because the Seven of Cups, especially for me, talks about illusion. And there seems to be some sort of illusion around you here that you're still not seeing through with this Nine of Wands. And what it feels like to me is that perhaps you're starting to notice a pattern. Perhaps you're starting to see it. I was talking about this to somebody else the other day, and talking about how aware we are as human beings now, that we start to see things for ourselves. We don't always need someone to point them out to us, but some people just are quite oblivious to their patterns. But for many of us, the awakening that we have gone through or are currently going through sort of brings an awareness around, so we can actually see things. So I very often have people say to me, you know, I didn't see it before, but now I see it. So it is sort of becoming a very conscious thing for us to notice behaviors that aren't really serving us. Now, the behaviors may not be, you know, terrible behaviors or bad behaviors, but what they're doing is they're stopping us reaching our potential. Because whilst we're repeating something, we're not going after what is right for us or better for us or more in tune with who we are. So we keep repeating the same thing over and over again. So for example, as I was doing that, I'm thinking, look at the people pleasing thing. You know, you might always do things for other people. You may always feel like saying no, but you don't. You may become very resentful and upset about always doing things for people. Maybe they don't always appreciate you or listen to you. And then all of a sudden you start to realize you're doing that. And you start to really become conscious of it. Now, that doesn't mean you'll always say no to someone straight away, but you will learn to once you've realised the behaviour. And like I always say, realising or seeing the behaviour is half the healing. Because once you've realised it's like anything else, then you can be conscious of it. So I feel like there's something here. Yeah, we have the star. This says to me that some of you are holding you back from your destiny. Some of you holding you back from what is rightfully yours. Whatever this pattern is that you have, you know, if it's poor relationships, for example, or picking people that aren't right for you, then it may be that you're holding yourself back from something very beautiful here. It could be a behaviour. Maybe you're a spendaholic, and maybe you're spending money all the time, and you may have something in front of you that you want to get to, like a house or a cruise, but it's impossible because you keep going through the same behaviour over and over again, and you're not understanding how to pull that behaviour in. So the star says to me, not only, oh wow, not only is this part of your destiny, but it also means there's healing to be done here. So like a lot of behaviours, we've learned them from, you know, family members. We've learned them from, you know, people around us, people who influence us, people who role model things. When I see the tower here, I think this is it. The universe is saying to you here, whatever this behaviour is, whatever this illusion is you have around yourself, they're about to break through that illusion. Now, sometimes this can come, you know, the tower, as I always say, can come in the form of an epiphany. So it can be that moment when you really see what you've been doing, when it's all so obvious to you and you haven't seen it before. It can also come as something more physically disruptive. For example, I always say, you know, you wanted to leave that job, it's really annoying, you have bossy people around you, maybe you're being bullied, you hate your job, you hate getting up every morning and going, but you still keep doing it because you have some sort of innate belief that you can't do anything else, you have to stick with this job. Then you have to ask yourself, is it because, you know, your parents said to you that once you had a job you had to stick with it forever? So there becomes the illusion, I have to stay in this job. And then the pain of the Nine of Wands becomes that energy of just going in every day and constantly repeating something where you're so unhappy. When the tower comes through, it is really either that epiphany moment where you say to somebody, you know what, you can stick my job, I'm out of here. Or it is that moment where the universe steps in. So all of a sudden you go to work and you've been made redundant. That sort of energy. So something is definitely stepping in here. Now, the Seven of Pentacles talks about seeds we've planted a long time ago. It's very much a kind of growing manifestation. And it feels to me like something is coming because you've asked for it. Yeah, we have the Magician here as well. So we have two cards of manifestation. The Seven of Pentacles for me is very sort of like that little magician card. It's about planting seeds and waiting for them to come to fruition. When we see the Magician, we know you've already got everything you need. So what is the illusion that you're living in that makes you believe that you can't do something or go somewhere because of something that you've created in your own mind? I always think, you know, it's like I talk about the astronaut thing. You know, I want to become an astronaut. And you go and do other jobs because you've been told by somebody many years ago that you'd never be an astronaut, and you believe them. Maybe it was somebody who had a lot of influence on you, maybe you were very timid and it sort of had a big impact. So then your illusion becomes, I'll never be an astronaut. But you see, if that's what you're meant to be, and that is something that you've, I guess, sort of come up with when you were younger, then it may have been your life path. It possibly was. And if you haven't followed it, it means that all the things you're going through now are not satisfying for you. So the Magician talks about you having everything you need here. We have the Seven of Wands here, and I want to say to you, don't give up on something. Don't give up on it. Stand your ground. Something is going to come to help you move forward here and to recognize something here that you have not. You may have been noticing it, but maybe you're not realizing how much it's impacting your life or how much you're missing out on by not going after the very thing that you should. You know, sometimes we keep ourselves stuck because we just become comfortable, we just become complacent, we just become too nervous or too scared or too fearful. I hear a lot of people, you know, saying things like, you know, but what if I don't get another job? But what if you do? you know, like that negative thinking that tends to sort of take over and crowd your thinking space, which means that you don't have the space to fit in something new. So I feel like here you're about to get a little bit of a push on your journey, which may help you see things more clearly. All right, so we have the Ten of Swords. Well, that says to me there is the end of a negative cycle. The Ten of Swords is the closing out of something, the finishing up of something. The swords represent thoughts, ideas, communication, thinking. But whatever this is, it's coming to a close. So there may be some sort of thinking you've had or some sort of ideas you've had that no longer serve you. And I feel like they're going to be sort of removed in some way, shape or form. Now it can be something simple like I just couldn't do that. It's just not possible for me. Maybe even sort of accepting something because, not just because of the money, but because of the fear of leaving or not finding something. Whatever this fear is, whatever this negative thinking is, the universe here is helping you to close out some sort of cycle. All right, we have the Devil energy next to that with the Emperor energy and the Fool. Now the Devil energy does talk about the ego. It does talk about being trapped, but I feel like here, what it is saying to you here is that there is an ending to this way of thinking, this blind way of thinking. And there seems to be a real strong energy of you stepping into your power and having a brand new beginning here. This is taking a leap of faith with the Fool. So maybe, for example, if it's a job I'm talking about, you may decide to go in and just give your notice. You may not think about it anymore. You may leave that relationship that's becoming really burdensome for you. You may release toxic family members. There is something here you are seeing and you are ready for a new beginning. Something that is keeping you trapped and not receiving your abundance. So you could be about to walk into the job of your dreams, because I've got the Nine of Pentacles here. So it could be that relationship you want is out there, or that job is out there, that house you've been looking for. Maybe you've been stuck in a particular area and been trying to get out of it for a while. Maybe you've been looking for love, but telling yourself that you're not going to find anybody. Whatever it is here, there is a negative pattern that you need to close off or realize. It's not really closing off, it's realizing, becoming conscious of. All right, so we have the Eight of Wands coming through with the Hierophant. You know, I look at this and I think there's somebody out there who's in a casual job who's looking for something full-time. There is somebody here who can't find a solid relationship, that keeps trying to find somebody but can't find anybody who wants a relationship. And maybe it's the other way around. Maybe that you don't want a relationship, but everybody you meet does. There is some sort of glitch here in your thinking or your way of thinking, because there is a feeling that you are about to walk into something and it's going to show you or remind you of what you want. And maybe that's, you know, the way somebody else has done something. Maybe you're going to see somebody else and realize how you've given your power away. The Hierophant tells me things are definitely coming into stable energies here. There's moving away. All right, so this is really interesting because I see you actually in the process of considering moving away. So maybe for some of you, I am talking to you and you have already realized the pattern. Maybe you've already made processes here, and I guess Spirit will be here then just to tell you that you're on the right path and just to follow your own heart. Because I do see communication coming in regards to something that's going to make things different for you or change for you here. Oh, we have the Hanged Man coming through. So what I see here is seeing things from a completely new perspective. How you were seeing things before wasn't your perspective. It was somebody else telling you that's how things should be. You know, it's sort of the energy that I always get around things like, you know, people saying to you money doesn't grow on trees, or money is the root of all evil. So therefore, every time you have money, you feel like you're being greedy. I had somebody say that to me the other day, but then that would be greedy. And I'm like, what? Where is the word greedy come from? It's a very judgmental word, and it really doesn't mean anything. Maybe greedy is when you tread on other people to take money, but then that's not really being greedy either. That's being spiteful or mean. The thing is, we are told things that we then apply to everything in our lives, which really is not necessary. So having more money than you need is not being greedy. Having money in the bank is not being greedy. Having an abundance of savings is not being greedy. So what point is greedy then become fathomable? Because for you it might mean something completely different to what it does to me. But it's a very judgmental word. It always makes me feel like it's the type of word that somebody would use when they were jealous of how successful you were. So whatever this greedy thing is, maybe greedy's eating more than 3 cream cakes. But is that really greedy? Or is that satisfying something within you? But whatever it is here, you are definitely seeing things from a different perspective. And I see you moving away and sort of clearing up some confusion around this. All right, so the Knight of Wands tells me that you have been, you know, repeating some sort of pattern here. I see the pattern being represented in the 7 of Cups, some sort of illusion you've created for yourself that is holding you back from what you are destined to do. The Tower tells me that somehow or another the universe is going to intervene here, because maybe you have started to realize, because I see cards of manifestation and I do see the 7 of Wands, so I feel like somehow or another you're changing tack here, because I see this with the Hanged Man. So it's like you're starting to see things from a different perspective. There's a lot of energy of walking away and becoming more stable by leaving something behind. So maybe whatever this is creating a great deal of instability in your life, especially if you're in a job that is thankless, for example. I do see, wow, okay. I do see walking away from a job here. That's what just flipped out on me. All right, let's pull you an oracle card and see what Spirit has to say to you here. All right, Dust Devil, moving out of stagnation. I love it, you see. I say to people all the time, I am absolutely floored sometimes about how the cards come out in complete relevance to the reading. So let's have a look at what this says. This is embracing the chaos, trusting in the process of moving out of stagnation. The presence of the Dust Devil causes a ruckus. Some people are afraid of his chaotic nature, believing that he comes to intentionally stir things up. The truth is, you can't expect this dream ally to behave, to bring niceness, to be clean. His power is in the mess he creates as he calls for you to engage in the full cyclone of life. He represents 2 aspects to you now. The winds in your outer life appearing to throw you off course, where you assume the world is coming at or happening to you, and the winds that churn inside you with the Dust Devil arising from your dreamscape to help you escape your invisible chains shackling you to a barren desert. Stop asking for things to be perfect. Awkward, messy, conflicted, exuberant, and wild is how you shift. Trust this process. The Dust Devil knows what you need when you need it. Once things settle, you will see the gleaming jewels awaiting your discovery, the wisdom awaiting integration. And it's funny because I saw the line, stop asking for things to be perfect. And I thought, you know, some people stay in relationships because that's what they think is expected of them. Some people stay in jobs because they believe somehow that their parents wanted them to be successful, staying in the same job that caused them misery. Don't worry about how perfect you are. You're always going to be perfect no matter what you choose. And it's sort of, I feel this is sort of like a bit symbolic in the wording here. Because I feel like it's saying to you, what is perfect? Why do you need to be this way? What makes you feel that you need to live this way in order to satisfy everybody else? Do what's right for you. Right, I'll leave you with that. Thank you.